Okay, good morning. This is May 23rd, 2024. This was a deadline date for me. This was a goal for me. I had to make this date, the 23rd, to have all my paperwork in to the lawyer that for the lawsuit that I'm going through. Now I'm going to start this video. It's 5 minutes long, but I want to show you the oxymoron that's taken place here in Sundance Adult HOA. What you're looking at is at least 4 years old. They don't even try to fix it anymore. Every time it rains, a good rain, this ditch grows. And I want to stop here. You see that tee box right there? That's the iconic tee box that's been there for 19 years. The 19 years that I've lived here, that tee box has probably been there right at the corner, all the way back and all the way to the right. 50% of the time, 75% of the time. I made a video yesterday or 2 days ago about golf encroachment. This is golf encroachment right here. They've got that tee box as far back and as far to the right as they can put it. And because of that tee box location, I get showered with mediocre golf shots all day long. The golf course is aware of that. I've sent them videos. I've sent them letters. I've sent the HOA videos and letters. I'm getting showered day in and day out by mishit foul balls. And if anybody can believe, anybody that's been playing golf for more than 20 or 25 years like me, I've been playing for 60 years. I loved the game. Nobody loved golf more than I did until I got and bought a house on the Sundance Active Adult Golf Course in Buckeye. I fell out of love with golf. I haven't touched the golf club in years. I haven't paid a greens fee in years. All right? It was like the worst divorce. When I found out that this clubhouse here had a hard-on for me because I bought those 3 lots above the course, and I outbid a bunch of people, local people. I come in from California. They put that tee box there every morning. And like I said in a video a couple days ago, if you were to pay the golf manager running the shop $100 a day, or $100 for every ball that was hit in my yard every day, and ask him where would you put the tee box to guarantee that all your golfers, your mediocre golfers, amateur, beginner golfers, where would you put the tee box to give them the best opportunity to put a ball in Mr. Lasham's yard? It would be right there. They'd all pick that spot. They wouldn't go any further forward. They wouldn't go any further away from the cart. That's the ideal place right there to put a ball in my yard. And I've had thousands in my yard. Now, what I want to get to here, and you've seen a little bit of it, but I'm being sued by the HOA because of what I did to my yard. Now, the whole time of all the letters they've been sending me about my yard, this ditch has been here. This ditch started 4 years ago, in a storm 4 years ago. It was a little crevice, and with each year that goes by, with each storm that goes by, it gets bigger and bigger. Now, I'm on a walking easement. This is an access easement. This is Tract A. And Tract A isn't surfaced the way it's supposed to be. the way it was called out in the master plan. Tract A does not meet the master plan. First of all, they got a sign that's put it out of use for everybody here with a golf cart. It was open for 3 years. It was open for 3 years, but then they closed it again without telling anybody, without warning, without a vote, without notice on the website that they were going to close this access easement after being open for 3 years. They just came in one day, put the sign in, put the rocks in, and said no golf carts are ever going to use it again. Well, not only are no golf carts going to use it, but no emergency vehicles are going to use it. Okay? And this sign trumps. That sign right there is trump over the plat map. The plat map says this has to be a drainage easement. The plat map says it has to be an access easement. The plat map, when it's both of those, without having to say it, it goes to say that it's also for emergency ingress and egress of emergency vehicles. Emergency vehicles. They've got it so that we don't have any emergency access to our parcel of 63 homes in parcel 12. And this last few steps I'm walking uphill to a threshold. I don't know if anybody takes science. Anybody has a building background. A threshold is something that has to be overcome. And right at where this ditch starts is the highest part of the threshold. The reason they took this out of service to golf carts is because the golf carts and the vehicle traffic going over it kept lowering and lowering and lowering what they had established for a threshold. Now this is at the end of a walking easement. It's been there 4 years. It's my opinion that the golf course, the HOA, everybody in town government, they take pride when they look at that ditch. Now, we're walking up why I am being sued. Let's stop here, okay? Before I put this little mound here, these are made up of sandbags filled with pebble rock. I got my 2 Adirondack chairs on it. Here's a wind vane I made, and I figured I'd do that for the golfers. When they come up, all they have to do is look at the wind vane, look at the wind spinner, and they'll know which way the wind is blowing and how fast. I'm only trying to help the golfers. I golfed for years, but I turned away from it. Like I said, once I bought this lot, and I was told that it was very unpopular, I used to own all 3 of these houses. This one, and this one over here. So I bought all 3 of these houses back in 2004, 2003 and 2004. And I've been a leper to the colony. I'm poisoning the bloodline up here. I had a letter in my file about a month after I closed the last 2 houses. And it was bogus. It was based on false witness. Everything I've had here for a problem with the HOA has been false witness. Now, this was the portal for every golfer to hit a foul ball up here. And because of that tee location, the pro shop puts it there because they know that every day, day in and day out, anybody who struggles off the tee box, they're going to put a ball in his yard. All day long, when we're busy, especially on the weekends, when we get most of the novice playing, especially then, all right, that we're going to have golf balls up along this property line all day long. Whenever they miss, they're going to miss up here. It's going to give them the opportunity. I'll stop again. I have a bird bath here. I have my 2 Adirondack chairs. I put this here because this was the portal. If I can go back to here and start again. When you walk up this hill, this is the path that every golfer who hits a foul ball up here takes. Any golfer who hits a foul ball off that tee, and it doesn't take much of a miss to be up here along that hedgerow or in my yard. So all day long, the golf course sets up the course to put people up here along my hedgerow all day long. They put that tee box as close to the cart path and as far back as they can. Like I said in my other video, if you were to offer $100 to the pro shop for every ball that went into my yard, where would you put the tee? They'd put it exactly where it is this morning, all the way back and to the right. So we're going to be harassing him from the time he's here. And for 19 years, I've gone through harassment from that tee box. And because I've complained about it so much, they know it's a burr under my saddle, and it's this pissing match I'm having with these adolescent children who are running the golf shop. Instead of being real pros, and understanding what goes on up here, that I'm being bombarded day in and day out. But I want to let you know, the reason I put this here is this was the portal. The first place that people would come to walk onto my yard. This corner probably has been walked over, a couple thousand times in the last 19 years. I fill up totes with golf balls. Thousands of golf balls in the last 19 years have gone in these 3 yards. Thousands. And those are the ones that people are honest and they don't come up and walk on my yard to get their ball. Most people that play out here in Buckeye, when they buy a greens fee, that's a patio pass. And they most all agree if they don't see much activity on the back porch or on the patio, or if they see covered furniture or no furniture at all, they just assume, oh, that's a snowbird's house. They're not home. So it isn't going to hurt anything if I walk on the property and recover my foul ball that I just hit up here. I got sick and tired of seeing young golfers walk over this corner like they own my property. And they do. They think they own it. And when I confront them, the first thing out of their mouth is, you bought a house on a golf course. I can't believe you're making a big deal over this. It's only a golf ball. Well, I have to pay dues. I have to pay taxes. Do you pay dues and taxes? And another thing, you see this white post right here? That's the boundary for the golf ball, for the golf course. That's out of bounds. That's telling everybody back on that tee box that you're not going to lose a shot until you hit it past this white marker and put it in his yard. I participate in every round of golf that's sold here because I'm threatened. Every time that tee box is there, I'm threatened by anybody who can't keep the ball on the fairway. If they block it, if they have trouble striking the ball, if they're hitting it, pushing it, blocking it, slicing it, whatever you want to call it, fading it, I'm it. And not only was I it for golf balls, but I'm it for flooding. I had to spend about 8 years regrading this lot here and this lot. And when I got done, like I said, for 19 years, I've had nothing but golfers walking over this property line. They see that white post and they go, out of bounds is up there. I hit it out of bounds, so I'm going to go up there and look for it. And they walk down this property line with cameras, whatever they want. They drive down the property line. And I got sick of dealing with it. And since you're going to play right up to my property line, I figured I'd put a couple of chairs out here right on my property line. But this happened about 17, 15 years. It's been a couple years now I've had this. So the ladies on the ladies' tee aren't used to seeing this. And the first day I was sitting out here, they almost blew a fuse. Every lady in the ladies group got their camera out and took a picture of me. I'll keep going here. But as they go up, there'll be a golf ball sitting in this ditch. But you're looking at 8 years of hard labor. 8 years of hard labor. You see that ditch right there with the and all that? That's 2 lots were regraded. I worked on them every year for 8 years. And for the last 2 years, since they started, there's a ball in the ditch. It rolled up here. I threw it back to them. I threw it to the people on the tee. I don't want your golf balls. I don't want your golf balls. I got thousands and thousands. I got big tubs filled with golf balls. I've given so many away. All right? And that's why I put that sand berm or that seating area to keep golfers off my property. I'm being encroached on by the golf course. I can't defend myself against incoming day in and day out from that tee box. Okay? And to think that I'm being sued and they want to take me for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They've already got a fine onto my house. The fine that $100 a day that started a year and a half ago is probably up to $60,000. On top of that, they're suing me. And they want me to pay all the court costs, all the lawyer fees, and everything, plus about a $60,000 fine at $100 a day. This is Arizona law. The reason they're getting away with this is because Arizona, the way the laws are written and the statutes are written here, you don't have a chance as an HOA owner. Anybody that owns an HOA, all the laws are set up for the HOA. I'm going to go into court in about 2 weeks on June 6th, and I feel like Donald Trump in New York, I feel I'm going to get raped. The judge has a blueprint for dealing with a lawsuit. It's like a flow chart or a fault tree. And when all the evidence is presented, the judge isn't going to listen to my argument about my house being built wrong, about being assaulted by golf balls, about my house being encumbered by being built wrong. They dropped the finished floor elevation by 2.5 inches. I'm not going to get anywhere with that argument because the judge is going to have a blueprint in front of him that says we don't go back, we don't look at anything that would have to do with statute of limitations. We're going to deal with real time what's in the lawsuit. And I feel I'm going to walk out of that courtroom a lot lighter financially than what I walked in, and I can't do anything about it. And if you think you can buy in an HOA and then you go on these websites and look up HOA lawyers, those HOA lawyers understand the court system here. The court system isn't going to go back and look at anything that's statute of limitations. So anything, all the sins that were done to you by the builder, by the HOA, by the golf course, is going to be The judge is going to be blind to that. He has a flow chart or a blueprint or a fault treat that says, okay, when he says this, well, I have to do this. And when they present this, I have to do that. And since you haven't made a case and defended yourself, I have to fine you. I have to put a judgment against you. The two lawyers have won, you lost. And like I said, if you think you're going to buy a house in an HOA and you go online and here's all these HOA lawyers, every one of those HOA lawyers understand that the judge doesn't want to go back and talk about anything. Any sins that you may have against the HOA, the town, the golf course, the judge isn't going to listen to. He's going to only look what's on the lawsuit. That narrow piece of time. Just one narrow piece of time that's been defined by the lawyers is the only thing we're going to talk about. I feel like, and the reason I'm making these videos and the reason I'm talking about the lawsuit, I've been watching Donald Trump do this now for his lawsuits for a year. He's criticized the judge. He criticizes everybody that's part of the case, the lawyers, the judges. He even talks about the judge's family. I'm not going to mention the judge or the family. You've seen my other videos. Okay? What bothers me the most is what you're looking at right here. While they've been, there it is again, there's the, how hard do you think it is from there when I turn around and look? That tee box is no more than 45 yards from the corner of my lot and just off line, only a few feet off line. They put sometimes 250 golfers a day on these tee boxes. Golfers that have never hit a ball in their life. Golfers who have never taken a lesson. Golfers who have no etiquette. Golfers who are dressed in gym clothes, denim, blue jeans, collarless t-shirts. Things that 20 years ago you would have never seen on this golf course. But right there, this is encroachment. I consider it assault. Whenever that tee box is there, I'm nailed to the cross. They're burning a cross in my yard. They've got me nailed to the cross. They've got me handcuffed up there with incoming. And the beautiful thing of it is for the golf management group is we don't know who's going to put a ball up there. We know there's going to be balls in his yard all day. We know that. People miss. This is golf. Golf is a game of misses. Nobody ever goes out and shoots around and said, how were all the shots? Did you hit a perfect shot every day, every time today? No. Well, how many shots you figured that you hit that were pure, great, good shots that you can be proud of? 5 or 6 maybe? 3 or 4 that actually went where you were planning on sending them the ball? How many balls went to the right? How many balls did you pop up? How many balls come off the end of your club? All right? And to think that when I turn around now and that the whole HOA, everybody here has been blind to this for 4 years. They're blind to it. They won't fix it. They're not going to fix this. They take pride in that ditch. They take pride that they closed this off to emergency vehicles and golf carts. And I want to let you know, all these big, beautiful, luscious bushes you see right here are being watered by the HOA. They're watered by the HOA. They're trimmed by the HOA. This is a tax-free easement. This property is tax-free. And for the first 8 or 9 years that I lived here, there was a huge tree right where I'm taking this picture. I have a letter from Woody Scout, and he decertified it, it's out of service. It doesn't drain. In 2013, they dug it out. But they did a cob job, what we call in the aircraft industry a cob job. Did you do it by the prints and by the wiring diagram? Well, no. Why not? Well, it would have cost more money, it would have taken more time, the labor, the expense. So we took a shortcut. We did a cob job. I saw it for 30 years working on airplanes. You got people that like to go extemporaneous. They don't like to follow the job card. I worked on airplanes for about almost 30 years. And in that 30 years, all you do is study manuals. They're called control documents. You have about 4 or 5 control documents. You see all these bushes, all these beautiful, luscious plants? They're being watered by us at an hour a day. An hour a day. And from right about here, it's all uphill. It's all uphill. And the reason they took this out of service is the golf carts, every time they went over this easement, were packing it down. They were compressing it, packing it down, and they were lowering this threshold right here. Now, can you imagine? Because obviously the HOA, the golf course, and the people who run the city council, the city councilmen, they don't have this kind of imagination. Can you imagine somebody walking down this easement at night not knowing that this was there? They walk down, they say, well, here's a sign, I can't drive, I can walk it. They walk down, it's dark, they're not paying attention, and they walk into that hole. Because I worked for the airline, and especially United Airlines was huge on safety. We had safety shoved down our throat. Every kind of safety. And this kind of safety I'm talking about, I used to have to watch a video every year from United Airlines on a safety video, one of about 10 on fall trip hazards. That's a fall trip hazard. But because of these amateurs out here in Buckeye, everybody is an amateur. And I'm being sued for this. I'm being sued because I made a little, I blocked the portal. I stopped the golfers from walking on my property. They have, the golf course boundary is on this hedge road. And as far as, this isn't play area. When a golf ball is hit up here, it's like it's out of bounds. These people walk up here, they grab their golf ball, and they pick it up and they take it down to the fairway. So it's not a play area. It should be out of bounds, and it should be marked out of bounds, and it's played as out of bounds. Even though they have the white stake there, you're not going to see many golfers take their shiny brand new clubs and try to hit it off the rocks up here. They come up and get it like it's out of bounds. They take it back down to the fairway. They hit it from there. But I'm making this video for, and I don't know who's watching him. A lot of people are watching them or starting to watch them. And they're giving me feedback, favorable feedback. So if anybody that watches this is part of the golf community over here in Buckeye, any of you members, you've been driving by that for 4 years. And every year it gets bigger. And nobody says anything, complains about it. But they complain about a lighthouse I have up on my yard that's not there anymore. And they complain about my seating area. I own that property, or I thought I did, right up to the property line. If they're going to use my house for out of bounds and they're going to put the boundary right on my property line, then I should be able to sit on my property line, and I should be able to put up a barrier to keep golfers from trespassing onto my property. My 3 properties have probably been trespassed on at least 3,000 or 4,000 times, maybe even more in the last 19 years. The only reason it's not as severe now is golf is dead. From what I saw, what golf was when I first moved in here the first year, to what it is now, golf is dead. It's dead. All your Korean War veterans, all your baby boomers aren't working anymore. These baby boomers like myself are now on fixed incomes. All right? It costs too much to play golf. It takes too much time to play golf. And I feel like Donald Trump and Greg Norman kind of had a civil war. You're seeing a civil war in golf right now. A civil war in golf. He's ruined it. I don't even watch golf on TV anymore. I don't play it. I haven't paid a greens fee in about 7 years. And like I said, Caroline Clinton kicked me out of the HOA 7 years ago on false witness. Same kind of false witness exists over here. You're going to tell me that all the golfers, the golf management, the HOA doesn't know about that fall trip hazard at the end of a walking easement? That's at the end of a walking easement. United Airlines, we had a guy named Screamin' Gene Lawler, a big tall Irishman with a red face. If he would have came by and seen that, he would have went up to the golf course manager and would have started screaming at him. Get that fixed immediately. Get it fixed immediately. You know what a safety hazard that is? I can't get that over to these bucolic, Midwestern, MAGA hat, Trump heads out here that want to keep it, and they want to take me to the cleaners. They want to own my house. They want to take about $80,000 or $90,000 of equity away from me to pay lawyers, court fees, and a fine that got started a year and a half ago at $100 a day that they never sent me notice. They never sent, if it was a notice, they sent it for a stamp, a 52 or 54 cent stamp. I never got the notice. I never got it. I was never warned. So they, in an executive session, they sat down and said, we're going to start fining them $100 a day. They never gave, and I was kicked out of the HOA. I was kicked out of the HOA when they started this fine. I've run out of words. I don't know what to say about this. Only that my only thing that I can say is I feel like they're going to rape me in court on June 6th. I'm going to be a different person in June 6th when I walk out of that courtroom than I am right now. Half of my security, half of my wealth, half of my nest egg is going to evaporate before my very eyes at the hands of a judge whose hands are tied by statute. We have to look what's on the lawsuit. We can't look anything before. Arizona law. Arizona law has been set up to steal money from people who buy in an HOA. They're so narrow in their definitions of what they have to do. Even if the judge sympathized with me, if he finally understood, he said, oh, I know that they did that to you. Gee, that's terrible what they did to you. But I still can't do anything about it. Arizona statute says I have to stick to this lawsuit and the items that are on the lawsuit. Even though you've proven to me they've screwed you in every way out there. They lowered your house by 2.5 inches. They degraded your sewer pipe. They put a forever encumbrance on your house, a forever cloud on your title. You're being encroached on, incoming interdiction and harassment fire day in and day out from that golf course. I'm sorry, Mr. Lasham, I can't address that in this court. I'm handcuffed by statute, and statute says you lost. So you're going to pay all the court fees, you're going to pay the lawyer fees, and whatever the HOA wants to do with you with the fines, that's out of my hands. It's not part of the lawsuit. And I don't know if you saw my other video a couple of days where I was talking to the lawyer. I tried to tell the lawyer I've got a lien against my house with these fines, and he goes, well, that's not a lien. That's not a lien. It's a fine. Semantics, word games. Right now I've got about $60,000 of fines against this property. And the reason they're getting bigger and bigger is because every pay period I pay my dues. And they can't move against me if I pay my dues. And right now it's so excessive over trying to protect my property. This is self-defense. Self-defense, privately. How would you like to buy a house and have people walking on your yard all day, breaking your windows with golf balls? Oh, that's another thing. They used to have a golf card that said golfers were responsible for any damage, property damage, or any injury. It was right there on the golf card. And then 4 years later, they changed the golf card. Now, there's no mention of any property damage. There's no mention of the golfers having to pay property damage or for personal injury. There's no discussion on the golf card now about trespass. Before it said, if you trespass onto private property, you're going to lose your privilege, your money that you paid, and we're going to take you off the course. You're going to lose your privilege. That's not on the new golf card. Like I said, I can bring all this up to the judge, and he can, in his mind and in his heart and soul, understand everything I'm telling him. And he'll sit there with sympathetic, maybe sympathetic, but he's handcuffed. I can't go there. We can't go there. I can't listen to this argument from you. It's not in the lawsuit. I'm bound and burdened to what's in this lawsuit. And that's what you're going to be answering. Please don't ever get involved with an HOA. Go on YouTube. Just put on anything with HOA on YouTube. Anything. And you'll find out the HOA is like a political party now. It's the third political party. They're making so much money. They've got billions and billions of dollars in the HOA industry that they're paying lobbyists with, and the lobbyists are making the legislatures write statutes that favor the HOA. Like I said, when I get into court, I can get that judge to realize everything that the HOA has done to me. And he's going to be handcuffed. I can't help you, Mr. Lasham. That isn't included in the lawsuit. We're stuck with this lawsuit. You have to answer the lawsuit. And you haven't answered it. Another thing is, the lawyer that brought the lawsuit, for the last 3 months, the only thing he's going to bring in the court is that lawsuit. He hasn't had to do a thing. He sent me yesterday, he sent me what he's going to go into court with, and that's the lawsuit. So for 3 months, he's done nothing. He's in an HOA attorney group that's got about 11 attorneys. They've got legal secretaries. Their office is set up to produce all this paperwork. My house right now is a complete disheveled mess. I'm trying to figure out of 19 years of paperwork and letters. And another thing, because they went back 3 years accusing me of not paying the fines, they went back 3 years and said, you're not paying the fines. I spent the first 2 days, you know what it's like to try to go on your bank or your website for your bank or your credit union and try to go back more than like 60 days to find canceled checks. I spent the first 2 days on the phone with my credit union trying to get canceled checks that went back 3 years. And if the HOA should cash that check electronically, if they take and do it electronically, you're not going to have a canceled check in your record with the bank. There's no canceled check if they file it electronically. All you can do is show them your a check you wrote, and you can show them your bank statement that the check went through, but there's no canceled check because they filed it electronically. Now, I tried to send in as much as I could to the lawyer, and now I have to make 4 copies of everything I sent the lawyer. And I have to come up with a statement. Like I said, June 6th, I'm going to walk into court. I'm going to, like a person led to slaughter. I used to work with a guy that worked in a slaughterhouse in the Midwest where they slaughtered pigs. And he said they would put them in a tunnel, and at the end of a tunnel there'd be a guy with a set of electrodes. As soon as a pig came out of the tunnel, they'd put the electrodes on his head and they'd electrocute him one after another, one after another. And he told me, he says, you wouldn't believe it, these pigs, when they were lining them up to put them in the tunnel, would start crying because they knew it was coming. But they couldn't stop it. They were going to be electrocuted. They knew they were going to be electrocuted when they got to the end of the tunnel, and there was nothing they could do about it. I'm making that analogy now with the HOA. I don't have a chance in court. If a judge sympathized with me 100% and agreed with me 100% and said, they screwed you. They sold you a house that wasn't right. They're bombarding you. They're attacking you day in and day out with golf balls. But that isn't on the lawsuit, so we can't go there. This is me squealing like a pig. My own way of squealing in this video. I've showed you what's at the end. Everybody in the town of Buckeye that's a councilman or anything with the government of Buckeye, the mayor of Buckeye, anybody that's with the golf course, and especially the board of directors with the HOA, you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed with that ditch that's the end of a walking easement. Like I said, if this was United Airlines, heads would roll. People would be fired for allowing something like that to exist for over 4 years. And you're blind to it, but you're not blind to me. Thank you for listening. Whatever you do, do the research. It's becoming more and more and more evident that HOAs are collecting. There's so much money involved that they can buy lobbyists, they can buy lawyers, they can buy judges. A person, an individual in an HOA has no chance. Thank you for listening.